Hello, Vixey's Soul Tribe. Welcome to another episode of Vixey's Healing Room. Sorry. So, today I have an interesting topic. One that's very personal, one that's going to be insightful, and also very interesting. Today we're going to be talking about coping with grief from both personal and professional standpoints. Interesting, right? I know. I have two amazing human beings with me in the studio today. And today, guess what? I have my siblings in the studio with me. And I told you, interesting humans. So, they're going to be sharing their experience, their personal experience with grief. Remember my first episode? It was my personal story. Now we'll be hearing from two people from same family. They will share their personal experience with grief and also give their perspective from a medical standpoint and a social standpoint or social perspective, so to say. So to my immediate left, I have Nedima Atta, the lead partner of Zizo Surrogacy Donor. Now correct me when I start to go wrong.
I'm the lead partner of Zizo Donor and Surrogacy.
That's right. She is also a registered nurse and midwife. You see, I told you. To my far left, I have Barrister Nkem Azubike. He is a lawyer and a licensed social worker. Today, stay pure, sit tight, and listen to this. In fact, enjoy the ride. So, welcome, guys.
Let me say hello to everyone first. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. Happy to say to them, Mrs. Atta.
Well, thank you everyone for having me here. And you actually forgot to add another title.
Which is what?
I'm a fertility nurse. Oh, you forgot to add that too.
She is a fertility nurse. I forgot to add that. So you see, 3 titles, 1 person, bumper package. So we'll just get straight to the point. Today we're going to be talking about, we're going to be having conversations and telling a personal story too. That's what we're about, right? So, Soul Tribe, Soul Tribers, Soul Tribe, whichever one it is. Let's get right into the nitty-gritty of today's episode. So, do you mind sharing with us your personal experience and how you were able to handle grief when our brother passed?
Who's going first? You can go first.
Ladies first.
Go first.
Okay, so I'll be very, very sincere. From school, being taught the stages of grief, from denial down to the acceptance. And I know that, yes, you don't really need to take that order just the way it came. But firsthand, I actually experienced it. And as a fertility nurse, I'm very, very big on emotional management. It's majorly what we do. But this time around, like, I experienced grief firsthand. And being a health worker in the family, I'm actually the only health worker in the family. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for me.
You had it easy.
No. So I think the society looks at it like it's easy because we, the frontliners, the medical workers, the professionals, we manage people emotionally. We're always there to take care of them from the point of care to when they're healed or maybe when it goes the other way. But this time around, my experience was quite tough because I just needed to be strong for everyone. I know that I was putting up like a strong, a bold face, and of course managing a brother. With me around, I think he saw someone who was giving him like beautiful hope. I wasn't like per se, I was telling him like this, but of course I tried to ensure that I nursed him well and made him feel comfortable. Like he didn't even feel any part of it. He may be in pains, but I don't think he really had the effect, especially when he was with me. But to be honest, deep down me, like I mean, I was actually like, I was totally broken. And it looks like most times whenever you perceive this, the medical professionals, we tend to know the prognosis of a particular condition. And this time around, I saw myself face it. It was my relative. Like, I felt very bad. I nursed people to health. Like I nurse them to when they feel better, or probably give them palliative care, or if you need to give them diversional therapy or anything, either which way, any way it goes. But this time around, like it was just me. I was faced with the storm. Like I had to give my brother that care and also be with him till the last. So I already know what the prognosis was. So it more looked like I was already beginning to grieve. That's what it looked like. And I felt very bad. I had sleepless nights. I wasn't sleeping. Most times I couldn't even express myself. Like I sit with my colleagues inside, like especially when I'm at work, I put up this bold face like, oh, I'm happy. I run scans for the patients. I'm all smiles. But the moment a patient just steps out, I lock the door and I see myself cry. I had to cry. Most times I had to cry in front of other health workers because I just felt just maybe they were the ones that were really going to give me all that support. And I didn't want to simply look weak or make everyone feel bad, especially with the members of the family. But I know that it looked like I grieved my colleagues.
We were hating on you because you always came up with the bad news, like this is what it is.
Oh my God.
And we were like, my goodness, can she stop?
Can we just hear something?
Can we hear something positive?
Positive?
You know, we felt like it was easy for you.
It wasn't.
So
it wasn't.
To hear you say it wasn't easy
It wasn't.
for you. Wow, okay.
It was quite tough for me. Like I had to tell you people. I couldn't tell him, but I had to tell you people. And at the same time, for me to relate this news, I needed to actually look tough. That's actually the word. But deep down, I was actually drowning. It was quite
after
painful
his passing,
for me.
how were you, you know,
It was very, very tough, to be honest.
because at this point we're facing
It was,
reality.
yes, because I had already, like, it was just reality. My biggest fear in life was just losing a sibling. I know how closely knitted and how so much love we have for each other. And it looked like one just dropped. I know it was like a part of me just dropped, and I felt very, very bad. It was very, very tough for me. I wasn't holding up, to be honest. To be honest, I know like everybody would have cried maybe during the burial. Well, it's just normal, but mine was very, very worse. Like it was really, really terrible. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel good, but at the same time, I had to be kind to myself. Like I had to remind myself, like, yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But for me to get there, it had to take me to actually accept that, oh, something had actually happened. And you know, then I had to like also share with some people I felt comfortable with sharing, okay, this is how I feel. I know there was a time I cried at work. I mean, I'm a very tough girl. I'm always very, very happy. You know, I get in, and I think it was a consultant that was like, you actually have tears in your eyes, because I was just remembering lots of things, you know, the beautiful memories we all had together, the memories of our brother Emeka, and I didn't know when I started tearing up. I was like, oh, you need to come into my office. I think you're in tears. And I had to share. To be honest, sharing that actually helped me. Like it was a little bit of relief. Then she also gave me some tips like, oh, have you even forgotten so soon? Like this is what we do on a daily basis. I understand that this is just you and you're trying to like suck it all, but I think you need to do the things that he liked doing. And first of all, I also needed to forgive myself. I need to put that, because I felt like I was not giving everybody care and they get well and it gets to my turn.
And then something happens.
Exactly. So I just felt bad. I started feeling like a coward. I started feeling like, oh, I wish I did this. Meanwhile, I actually did everything perfect. But let's not forget that we do not even have control about how things happen. You know, so I had to like do lots of self-reflection, because I just needed to be kind to myself. I needed to accept that, oh, something has happened. I needed to share. And I had to be very, very mindful. I'm not someone who really does exercises, but I started taking like deep breathing exercise. Then I looked at the spiritual point of it, because to be honest, when this whole thing started, I was sort of, I do not want to use the word angry with God, but I had so much anger at some point. I knew that we used to join the link, the NSPDP, you know, exactly. So I just dropped. I just stopped joining all those things.
That's what it felt like.
I felt bad. That was just how I felt like. I said, okay, we've been praying. This is a kind person. We have put in lots of work. Then what happened? But this is not me. I can't question God, right? So, but I had to start writing lots of things, like the spiritually, that's a spiritual point of view. I had to go back to God. I started praying, and I love music because I noticed like every time I go to work, every day I always cry. Like from Surulere down to Ikeja, I must cry. Like I will cry, my eyes will always be red. But I just decided to be mindful this time around. I loved music. I intentionally put in work to ensure like I got back to it.
Now I feel like we're abandoning Kemi at this point.
Oh yeah,
it feels like you've been talking for 2 hours.
Exactly. I had to speak. You know, like you had enough time to actually grieve, and I managed you all emotionally. Okay. But this is just me talking about how I felt.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
So this is actually a part of it too. You actually helping me to heal too.
Yeah.
Well, you can come to me for therapy. I'm licensed. I can do that.
Okay. So you can imagine. Okay. So a nurse who is good with emotional management is now coming for therapy.
You can come to me for therapy. Nurses go to social workers for therapy. Okay. Mental health practitioners for therapy.
Okay, before this process simplifies.
Great.
So, can you share with us how you personally navigated the period, after our brother's passing, the challenges that you faced, unexpected challenges that you faced in the process, and how you were able to overcome them?
Let me start. I was a social work student when he was going through his health challenges. It was very tough for me. Anybody who knows me and knew the relationship that I had with our brother, Emeka. Emeka was my classmate.
We were more like twins.
Yeah, we were like twins. Emeka was my classmate from JS1 to SS3. Actually, WAEC, West African Examination. We sat next to each other.
Oh.
Even JAM, the Joint Admission and Matriculation exam to get into college. We sat next to each other. So we pretty much lived like twins. And watching that happen to someone who was literally my twin but just 2 years apart was rough for me.
I know.
And to make it difficult, not being in the country was tough because constantly I had to reach out to you.
Yeah.
What's the update? I had to reach out to them. What's the update? You know, you go to bed and wake up. I would go on his WhatsApp. It was like stalking my own brother. I would go on his WhatsApp status and make sure that he has posted something just to see that he's alive. And that gave me hope each time he posted a prayer, a prayer point, something. It gave me hope. Oh, thank God he's alive. But things started to go down.
Yeah.
And like our nurse shared, I had to deal with, I actually watched him go through the Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grief.
Now we've gone academic.
Okay. He dealt with the portion where he bargained.
Yeah.
God, if you heal me, I'll do this for you.
Yeah.
That's rough. If you get to that point, that is very rough. So, even watching him at some point, even when he got to the acceptance stage, was hard for me as a sibling to even deal with that. So, I always would say, when Emeka passed, a major part of me left that I don't think will ever return. You all know we had a special bond of listening to oldies.
Oh, yes.
Friday nights. In the morning, Saturday during prayer, we'd be like, how was it? Was the selection last night? Guys, the DJ tried. The DJ tried last night. Sometimes in the middle of the night, we even woke up and sang with the DJ.
I remember.
But it got to me to the point where for 2 to 3 months, I stopped listening to radio. each time I drove to work, I'll cut off my radio because I knew something, one music that we liked will come on.
Yeah.
So I will cut off my radio. So I would say it's been a ride, a rough one, but I'm here. That's what I would say.
And that's what the Vixey's Healing Room is about. When you feel lost, you find your way back, albeit gradual, slow, but you start to find your way back. And the reason why we share this or have these conversations and share stories like this would be to encourage people who are going through similar situations, so they can draw hope, draw inspiration, and try to find themselves again. Great. It was a difficult period. Sometimes I still remember if something that. So I think to be honest, grief, you never quite heal from loss. You never quite heal from loss. You just find a way to navigate around it.
Exactly.
You just find a way around it. You never quite heal.
100%,
To be honest, you never quite heal.
100%.
And I always tell people that in my first episode, I talked about this podcast I was listening to, I think Gia Pepper's podcast. And I think her name is Angela Phillips, I'm not very sure now. She said something that really struck me. She said, if you're grieving, embrace it in real time. Do not postpone. And when the emotions come, allow it to wash over you.
But can I say something when it comes to grieving? And I'm not bringing, I promise you all, I'm not bringing law into this. You have to grieve at your own terms.
Yeah.
You
No one actually teaches you how to grieve.
You don't have to grieve immediately, and I wouldn't use the word postponing my grief. Some people still, and all those 5 stages where you are in denial, stage 1.
Yeah.
Some people actually stay there for a long time.
Actually.
Some people stay there for a long time before they get to anger and get to bargaining, then depression.
Yeah.
For some people, they're still alive. That's why you hear people and they'll be like, they're living in denial. They'll tell you they're still here.
So is there no way that we can? So do you have to go through all the stages of grief? Can you bypass any?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, so before you get to the point where you're depressed, can you start to find your way? So the idea is for people not to get to that point where they are depressed.
So I'll say this, people need to also, I think it's more of label. People pay attention to the word depression. It can come in different form. There's mild, there is severe. So it can come in different form. Someone may be depressed for a short period. Doesn't mean they did not experience it, but they may be depressed for a short period and just move on to the next.
Wow. Okay, because I feel like this topic is a topic that is never ending. I feel like each time we scratch the surface, something else comes up. So it's really deep. It's something that is a topic that is very deep and very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very vast too.
Right.
And you go this angle, there's another angle to it. You go this way, there's another angle to it. So I feel like grief, your mental health and all of that stuff, I feel like these are very deep topics, deep conversations, and because each time we talk about these things, we are only just scratching the surface.
Yeah, but like it's encompassing, like you said. So with grief, you don't necessarily have to go through all the stages, right? Most times it can be the other way around, and you don't also have to touch all the stages, and
There's no time, it's not time bound. Like he said, like you can stay in probably anger for a very long time, and at the same time, it may not be acceptance at that time. Maybe for the other person, anger may be the last stage for him, because it's encompassing. And truth be told, when you're grieving, it tells a lot on your physical health and mental health.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that people that have grieved for so long that it gives them like an indelible mark to their health.
Because I feel like for me, my bargaining happened when he was still alive. For me,
That's when my bargaining happened. So for me, I feel like when he passed, it was more of denial, where I made people feel like everything was okay. I didn't want to believe that he was gone. And then the next thing I felt anger. I think I was on anger for such a long time.
It happens.
I think I was on anger for such a long time because I was angry with God that after all the prayers, so he didn't make it. So how can I hear all those testimonies of people who have, you know, people who have survived?
Exactly.
Why is our own case
That was my
different?
last stage, to be honest.
So I think it was anger for me for a very long time, and I started to have PTSD when I remember the things that he used to say, or when he was bargaining, the things that I had when he was bargaining.
Right.
He gave me severe PTSD, and I felt anger, and I was angry at everybody. And it affected my relationship, so to speak, with some people. So I feel like I felt anger for such a long time. And now I begin to agree with you when you say there's no time frame to it.
Yeah.
You can stay on a stage for a very long time. I was on anger for a very long time, and then I started to accept. I got to the acceptance stage, and that was the point where I started to, you know, I went back to God more to speak. I went back to God. I started to pray more, and then I had accepted, okay, this has happened. What's the way forward so you don't lose yourself? Because I can tell you for free that for 1 full year, I feel like I lost myself, even though I did make it so obvious to all of you. But for the year 2023, I lost myself. It affected my job. It affected a whole lot of stuff, my personal life, everything. I chose to be indoors. I didn't want to mix up with people. I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about anything, you know. So
As much as you thought you masked those feelings, I noticed them.
well, we are twin souls.
And she's the most. I tell you, she's the most expressive in the family.
Okay, now you know my secrets.
And I will say this: people have to grieve, and I'm a proponent of people should grieve in their own way. You can be expressive. You can just choose to.
Do it silently or quietly.
You know, some people will act like the mental health, let it all out. Great, let it all out. But I don't have to do it the way you're doing it.
Exactly. People grieve differently. I know that for sure.
There is no manual for that. And our brother, I remember he said to me then, I'm hearing testimonies. Why is my own different? Why can't God heal me? So I remembered both anger, bargaining at the same time. And from the mental health perspective, the nurse did mention that you can get sick from that. So I tell people, as much as you're grieving, please take care of yourself. There's what you call somatization.
Okay.
Full disclosure, I did experience it. Somatization will come with different symptoms. Joint pain, headaches, a couple of things. You go to the hospital, they won't find anything. They will not find anything. So grief can also cause somatization. So folks, please take care of yourselves.
Okay, so from a professional perspective, I'm going to be asking you, the social worker, first.
Ooh, I'm on the spot now.
Yes, you're on the spot. I'm going to be asking you, the social worker, first.
Okay.
What coping strategy, emotional and psychological coping strategies would you give us? Okay, and then what support systems do you think people should embrace, and also therapy options? You know, so these are 3 questions now. Emotional and psychological coping strategies, support systems, and therapy options.
Okay. Sounds like a loaded question, but
like ABC, right?
Yeah. I can provide answers to that.
I mean, yeah.
So I'll start with support groups.
Okay.
People are not fan of that. Let me even start with not even support group. Your own, inside your internal support system.
Your
in the family.
Friends.
You and I can be talking. You know, family members can just have a conversation where we're chatting. We're having a group call. And you remember when you just celebrate his life, talk about things that he used to do when he was alive. And that could be a way for you to cope. That's one. And you may have that family member that you want to talk to when you feel like some days that we talk, some days we talk. You know, I will tell you, man, today has been very rough. I know we had that conversation not too long, and this was almost 3 years since he passed. But some days are just rough.
Yeah.
You know, have that family member, friend, it doesn't have to be family member, support system that you can always talk to. That's one. 2, develop a strategy that works for you. It could be deep breathing, you know, it could be...
Yeah, just like she mentioned.
Yeah, it could be taking walks. You know, you can just take walks. Please don't drive.
So you don't crash into another car.
But yes, take walks. You can choose to talk like you're talking to them. You're not crazy.
I did that a lot.
I
You
still
can
do
choose
that.
to talk like you're
I will
talking
have
to
it for
them.
friends. I still do that.
Full disclosure, at some point, I remember one day, I felt like there was an insect following me about the whole place. And then I said, okay, this is Emeka, the way he likes to play with me. And I'd say, please stop. You know,
That's what usually he would do when he was alive. Yeah?
He liked to just touch me, and the thing that he knows would irritate me sometimes, and he would laugh and then run the other way. Just to, you know, so he would, you know, the insect would, it wasn't a fly, it was this dot insect. It flew around the place a whole day from the office, and I swear to God, to the house. When we got to the house, I'm like, okay, stop. We played the whole day. It's enough. I swear to God. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. I did not see that insect again.
Crazy.
I felt at some point I'm like, is something going on with you?
No,
Are you okay? But for real, I felt like I was communicating with him. I found myself laughing and talking to an insect like he was the one. And I'm like, okay, stop. It's enough. Stop. We played the whole day. It's enough. I swear, the insect stopped to irritate me. I did not see that insect again. And so I just said, that was Emeka following me around the whole day.
But
I'm not, stop. I'm not even emotional. I'm just saying, I'm just sharing, you know, how that particular, I remember that one vividly. I felt like he was there with me, and I was talking, guys, I'm not crazy, but I was talking to an insect.
So, and you see, that was your coping strategy. Okay?
Actually.
So that's another way to cope. And I know in our community, people frown at going to therapy. Seeking,
we talked about this in the last 2 episodes that I had.
I remember I saw that. You know, people frown at seeking support from a licensed mental health professional. No. And, you know, people think, oh, he's crazy or she's crazy. Why is she not? If somebody died, they'll be okay. Be a man. Oh my God. Do they still say that?
They do.
They still do that.
Be a man. You know, that people should learn if you're able to, you know, seek support from the licensed mental health professional, please do that. Please do that, because that sometimes people just need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And why people go to licensed professionals, it's not like if I talk to you, you will not tell me, you know, things. Maybe you won't tell me what I want to hear. Or, sorry, you tell me what I want to hear. But a licensed professional will see it from a professional standpoint.
Right.
And provide you with that support. So, folks, please, if you feel like you need therapy, seek therapy. If that's a way you want to cope with it, please seek therapy. You are not crazy if you're seeking therapy. You're not weak if you choose that route. That's just the route that works for you.
That's right.
So,
yeah, thank you very much. So I'm going to be speaking to the nurse now. So from a nurse's perspective, how does grief affect your physical and mental health? Yeah. So it's going to be 3 questions for you too.
Okay.
How do medical professionals address grief? And what are practical self-care tips that you can share with us, you know, the viewers?
Okay, sorry. You may need to take that question again.
First question,
Yeah.
how does grief affect physical and mental health? That's one.
Yeah.
And then secondly, how do medical professionals address grief? I think you had mentioned it at some point, but you may have to go through that again. And then give us practical self-care tips.
Okay,
That would
so,
help.
Grieve, like I said, you don't even teach people how to grieve, right? So, people have their own time, and of course, that recovery time too. But grief can actually tell a lot on your physical, your mental, and your social health. Like you mentioned initially, that some people, when they grieve and they take it like to an extreme, like to the extreme, like it can hamper on the health. He said something about somatization. You may have lots of complaints
And ailments
like,
cropping up.
yes, like lots of things coming up, and you go to see the doctor, and the doctor doesn't say anything. They run all the tests and everything, and you're fine. And the truth is, those are one of the effects too that grief could actually cause. There's some people that have taken it to the extreme that they begin to experience a persistent raised blood pressure. There's some people too that actually had food aversion when you're grieving, that to an extent that it got to the stage where they became anorexic. There's some people who felt okay.
What's that?
Anorexia.
Anorexia is when you're
like when you're extremely thin, like extremely.
You're not
thin.
able to
Like
eat
you're
your food, you can't keep it down.
Take food.
No. Yeah.
You have this food aversion,
don't
right?
want to eat.
You don't
wanna
want
eat.
to eat
Don't want
anything,
to
and you just probably
Yeah.
feel like, oh, that's just an easy way to die from there. You
Oh.
know. So then you have also cases where people just say, okay, food makes me happy at this point, so let me just
So they
eat
just
it,
binge
and it just
food.
becomes so
Yeah.
obese, and you know,
That's
by the time
binge
you know
eating,
it,
I'm sorry. That's binge
exactly.
eating.
So by the time you know it, you begin to have experience probably like raised glucose levels and all that. Talking
So,
about diabetes, they are
health
all
conditions.
intertwined. Exactly. So then you're talking about the mental aspect too. The people that have suffered extreme depression. Aside depression, there are other mental disorders too that one can actually experience, especially when you have taken grief to an extreme, right? So we health workers, first things first, we always encourage. We have to give support to our patients or our clients. The first things we do first is to give that support, not to medicate you, okay? Because we feel medication and therapy is actually going to be the last
resort.
If we've given you so many tips and you know it's working or it's not working, but we need to evaluate you. So from the first stage, you actually have to accept that okay, there's something going on, or you actually experienced a loss. And when we're even talking about grief, it may not really be a loss of a loved one. It could
Yeah,
be
it could be anything.
a property.
Oh, yes,
exactly.
yes.
It could be
I forgot to
a
add
failure
that
exam,
Relationship.
Could be loss of a job.
loss of a job,
Could be loss of
anything.
a
You know,
pet.
anything
It
can
could be
actually make you.
relationships.
Exactly. Anything can actually
Could be
make you
friends.
experience that. Okay, so first things you need to accept. So when you accept and you have that reality, you know that okay, this is actually what is happening to me. You have to forgive yourself. You need to encourage mindfulness. So when you're talking about mindfulness now, is you need to know what are the things that make me, feel this way. How do I
So,
get out?
step
of
away
this
from your
situation?
triggers.
Exactly. How do I get out the way for this situation? It's okay if you even feel okay to cry. Will actually make you feel better.
Then
It's
by
okay
all
to
means.
cry,
Yeah.
but do not do it to the extreme. If you want to get people to actually talk to, like your colleagues, your loved ones, like you mentioned, please go ahead. Feel free and get all the support and emotional support you need at that point. Then if the spirituality aspect helps you,
Absolutely,
fine.
absolutely.
If you love music, go ahead. If you love to go out, if you love to play games, just
So these
get
are-
yourself
If
exactly.
you love to pray, if
They
you
help
feel like
to-
prayer works for you.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
They act like a
Yeah.
diversional therapy. I mean, it doesn't even really heal, to be honest. Like I see it, like if you lose a loved one, it's like a big hole in your heart that doesn't necessarily heal. People tell you, oh, with time it gets better. I don't
Yeah.
think that's actually true.
We just find a way to
Exactly,
navigate.
but you just have to find a way to navigate things through life. Then, lastly, if you need to get support, you can join a support group. You
Yeah, I
can
was going to talk about
consider-
community shared,
Yes.
community and shared healing.
Exactly. You can actually consider the grief counseling, like he mentioned. Like you can go to him, the psychologists and the licensed and mental health and practitioners just help you to just resolve the whole thing. But bottom line is, whenever you're experiencing that, make sure you don't get to the extreme so that it doesn't impact on your physical, mental, and your social health.
So I'm going to be asking both of you, an advice for listeners. At what point do you think a person needs to seek help?
So I'll say this. When you feel like you're being consumed, because there's a difference between, oh, I miss this person, I miss a loved one that I lost, or a job. Like I said, grief is not when someone dies.
Right.
So when you feel like, to be honest, you can tell yourself that, okay,
At this
I'm
point,
doing too much.
Exactly. When you're beginning to
I'm doing
lose
too much.
touch with
You're pulling back, you're not eating, you're crying all the time, you're not going to work. If you have to go to work, your productivity at work is constantly questioned. Okay, it's time. It's time to take action. And I get it if it happens for a week or 2 weeks. I don't want to put a timeline so people don't say, oh well, mine stays longer than that. But when you feel like for over a year,
things
you're not
are,
yourself,
that's your cue to seek help.
it's time to seek help. And
Right.
again, some people choose to do it at an early stage. Please, if you feel like you need help at an early stage, go for it. Go for it. Because if that's your own way of coping, do it. And I think, when people say it gets better with time, it can get better with time.
Yeah, for some people.
It can get better. It will not be the same way
Yeah,
it
but
was on day one.
it gets better.
Okay, I think that's what I think, that when people say that, that's what they.
That wasn't mean. Okay.
Maybe, but
So,
But it's not a case of, oh, the emotions will go away.
and then you feel fine.
doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't quite.
But
So,
do it at your own pace.
that's right. Thank you. So, what advice would you give somebody who is supporting a grieving person? That's a difficult role.
yeah,
You know why I laugh?
yeah.
That's a caregiver. A caregiver also needs care.
At times they run out of it too. So
It's
they
like
call it-
a car.
yeah.
You run out of gas at some point, and you will need gas. So while you're doing it, don't lose yourself.
That's right.
Self-care is very, very important. Self-care is I cannot stress how important self-care is.
Right.
Because as you're looking out for, as you're talking to someone, I'm one person even before I became a social worker. People will call me all the time. Full disclosure, these two plus the one who died, and but and that's something I love. But at the same time, I also had to learn to take care of myself. If journaling is what you do, great. If traveling is what you do, great. Whatever you have to, and also you have to learn not to take that call all the time. I gotta say it now.
Yeah.
I beg, let me speak pidgin.
You have to manage stress. Of course, yoga and
I also feel like
Maybe
if you're
also-
supporting somebody who is grieving,
Yes.
you don't necessarily want to speak at all times. You don't have to.
Yes.
Just your presence, knowing that you're there,
Yes.
holding their hands
That's enough
in
support.
silence
Yes.
is enough.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I don't want people ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-tying in my ear or talking to me. I just want to feel like I can just hold you. I just want to feel like I can hold you. I just know that you're there for me. And I just want to feel like I'm not alone. There's somebody who is here with me. You don't have to talk. I just want to feel your presence. Your presence alone is comfort. I feel like that helps somebody who is grieving too.
And
Wow.
sometimes it could just be text.
Yeah.
Talking can be draining. Please, no one should
You
come
don't
for
even
me,
want
but
anyone to.
talking
No, but for
like-
real, sometimes you don't want to, yeah.
Most times you actually do not have what to say to the person.
Sometimes you don't have what to say.
So all you need to do is
Just be there.
just your presence is there. Encourage the person. You can take the person
Maybe
out
just
to
listening
where,
is enough.
of course.
And
the
please take me
places
out to
you
where I'm just going to
like,
binge eat sometimes.
You know,
so that I feel better. You understand? You get my point.
You love
That's a
food.
coping strategy.
You love food. You
Let
love
me just
food.
have some nice ice cream
Okay.
or have some nice,
Okay.
turkey, suya, whatever. But let me just feel good.
Yeah.
So guys, wow, this is deep. This is really emotional. So even though nobody used this tissue box right here, I'm glad nobody had to cry. But thank you guys for sharing. So the key takeaways for this conversation today would be that people should grieve at their own time.
Yes.
Self-care being key
Yes.
and very important.
Very.
As somebody who is supporting somebody who is grieving, Barita Kem said you don't have to take those calls every time.
Don't have
Be
to.
careful so you do not lose yourself. Silence sometimes is comfort.
Of course.
Silence sometimes is comfort.
Just listening.
So I don't know if there are very big things that I'm missing or very important things that I'm missing mentioning here, but those few points are things that are our key takeaways from today's conversation.
And seek.
And seek help too.
If
Seek
you-
help when you need
Yes,
it.
when it's
Yes,
needed.
it's
Seek-
okay to
That's
actually
right.
see the
And
therapist.
Barrister Kem has said there's no time frame to this, but if after 1 year you still feel like you're losing yourself, that's your cue to seek help.
And sometimes even in a week or two, if
You may
you're
not
losing
necessarily get to
yourself,
the 1 year.
you have to seek help. You have to.
That's right. So once you find yourself withdrawing, recalling on a shell, wanting to be by yourself, not wanting to eat, not wanting to do those things that you love doing ideally, please, 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 that is your cue to seek help. Thank you very much, guys. I thought this was going to be a chaotic episode
wasn't
with
that bad.
3 siblings in the studio, but
Oh,
no,
we behaved today.
it wasn't that bad.
With strong personalities.
So, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for teaching us from a professional perspective and standpoint. We've learned a lot from you, the medical standpoint, and from the social standpoint, the social worker. Thank you so much. Guys, please, please, please engage us. Drop your comments. The next episode I can't even start to tell you about what the next episode is going to be like, but we're going to have an amazing personality come to share her story through her ailment or her illness and how she healed and how she got her groove back. You don't want to miss that. If you haven't turned your notification button on, please do. Guys, like, how do they say? They say like first, subscribe, like, comment, and share. Don't forget to share. Please drop comments for us. We want to hear your feedback. We want to engage with you. We want to continue this conversation in the comment section. Thank you very much, guys. On to the next episode. Au revoir.